Hello again and welcome back to Higher Learning Test Prep's online video tutorial series. Today we're going to look at two ACT grammar questions. What we're going to look at applies both to ACT and SAT in a sense, but these are both taken from an ACT test. So let's get started with number 48 here. So the first thing I do on the ACT is I'm going to look at the answer choices first and compare it with the original and ask myself, what are they asking me about? Well, we have that are, or omit, and then here we have which have been. Well, we have been, which is the past tense or the past participle, and then we have are in the present tense. So that's one thing we're wondering about is tense, and we're also wondering about this word which versus that word that, and then or a lack of either of them in answer choice H. Okay, so let's first look at verb tense. Well, I want the tense of this sentence to match what's going on in the rest of the paragraph. So I can understand in the present tense why video games seem more attractive than pinball. More importantly, video screens blank populated by movie stars. If you keep reading here, this sentence is comparing pinball machines to video screens. Pinball machines, on the other hand, are essentially the same. So I know that the original F is out, and I know that R sounds good. It matches. Now, what we're going to decide is should we use that R or just R? Well, let's read it with that and let's read it with just R. Video screens that are populated by movie stars, monsters, and heroes. Well, that might sound a little funny to you because it sounds like something else should happen in the sentence. The deal is, if you use the word that, video screens that are populated by movie stars, yada, 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 you've turned everything after video screens into a prepositional phrase that is further describing the video screens. We're looking for something to happen after that. Video screens that are populated by movie stars are more exciting, something like that. So this, if we used answer choice G, we'd have an incomplete sentence. We'd still be looking for a main verb to complete our sentence. So G is out. Now what we want to know is H or J the best answer? Well, let's read without anything. Let's omit the entire underlined portion. Video screens populated by movie stars, monsters, and heroes. Well, that sounds very similar to answer choice G. It turns out that whether you use that R or nothing at all, what follows video screens is a prepositional phrase if we don't use a verb like are. So it's an incomplete sentence if we use G or J. And in fact, even with F, it's also an incomplete sentence. Also, there was a tense issue with F. So the best answer is H. Okay, I want you to notice that there are two answer choices that use the verb are. So the test makers have designed this such that even if you got the are, even if you understood that there was a tense issue here, you could still make a mistake. So multiple things to consider when answering that question. So different question down here on number 70, but this question, there's going to be something similar going on here. So let's read this. As with all diseases. Now again, we could look at the original and the answer choices and say, what are they asking us about? They're asking us about when we compare these two things similarly, in the same way, according with, as with. These are ways of comparing stuff, and we're going to wonder which is the best way to compare what's going on in the sentence. What makes the most sense? So, as with all diseases, the best cure is prevention. It sounds pretty good, and oftentimes in the ACT, your ear is right. Similarly to all diseases, the best cure is prevention. Well, there's a couple problems there. Firstly, it's illogical. But secondly, similarly to all diseases, well, then we should be comparing something other than all diseases. And in this case, we're talking about viruses, diseases. So we're not going to compare this disease to all diseases and say similarly to all diseases. That doesn't make any sense. And then we have, in the same way as all diseases, the best cure is prevention. Well, that sounds kind of weird. It's a little bit clunky. Maybe we'll leave it for now. According with all diseases is straight up wrong. I want you to notice that the closest thing to the right answer is F, but I want you to notice that we have the word as here, and we have as in answer choice H as well. What I'm pointing out is that in both of these questions, there's the right answer and there's an answer that's closely related, just slightly off, that uses some of the right information in the answer choice. So notice that this happens on the ACT, that sometimes the right answer has another answer that's really close to it. So if you see two answers with the word are, perhaps are is the right answer, or one of those two. As in both of these answer choices, F and H in number 70, the same thing happens. Keep that in mind. You want to be strong on your grammar, but you also want to be aware of the strategies of the test makers. So, if you have any other questions about the ACT grammar section or the SAT writing section or anything else to do with either of these tests, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll make a video explaining exactly what's going on in any question you have. Take care and happy studying.